Imagine growing up in two worlds, with a foot balanced in each, trying not to lean too much towards one, for if you do, beware, you'll fall. Although this may sound like a silly imagination to most, to some, including me, this was an actual experience growing up, simultaneously learning, adapting, and constantly accepting two cultures. Today, I stand before you all to share a deeply personal exploration on how I navigated through these two worlds and what I learned along the way. From the surface level, my childhood appears like the childhood of any other kid growing up in Tampa Bay, Florida. Summers spent at Clearwater Beach, gymnastics lessons, and hours spent playing tag in the humid evening air. It sounds like I experienced nothing but happiness, right? Unfortunately, that was not the case, for I, along with many other second-generation immigrants, were experiencing an affray revolving around the question, who am I? Majority of my childhood, I was unable to answer this question because I was in a state of perplexity. I was perplexed because I did not know which culture I belonged to. I never felt 100% South Asian nor 100% Western. It felt as if I was awkwardly shoved between these two cultures, with my hands stretched out, unable to grasp either one. The greatest blunder I have made growing up was leaning towards my Western culture simply for the sake of fitting in. I face a great amount of compunction regarding this, for if I had not done that, there would have been many more ethnic delicacies I could have enjoyed without pretending to hate, plenty more culturally enhancing festivals I could have taken a part of, and many more traditional clothing I would have had the pleasure of dressing up in. One of my many prominent childhood memories was in the first grade. I, along with the other 84% of women in my South Asian culture, wore a red vermillion dot on my forehead. For me, it wasn't going to be a lasting habit though. I remember I walked into the classroom just for a girl to run up to me and quite loudly ask, "What's that on your forehead?" I was mortified. From that day onwards, I threw a fit whenever my mom tried placing the red vermilion dot on my forehead until she eventually gave up. I refused to see the beauty in my ethnicity to be accepted by my nationality. It wasn't until hair products started turning into a variety of oils and latte runs became homemade chai that I realized I was never choosing. Rather, I was betraying a part of myself that could never really disappear. The thing is, cultural disconnection can lead to a numerous amount of outcomes, including loss of tradition, confusion, and uncertainty about one's identity, all of which can be burdening for an individual. These outcomes are based on an individual's experience, coping mechanisms, and to what extent the disconnection reached. Yet it is important for that individual to know that they are not alone. 7 out of 10 second-generation immigrants experience cultural disconnection. There are many of us in the same boat trying to carve a path towards self-acceptance with minimal guidance. Even though it has been a great learning process on this bittersweet voyage, I learned to balance both my cultures. I learned to accept that I was a part of both and both make me who I am today. You can do the same by following and implementing these steps. First, speak out about the unspoken contrition. Trying to accommodate the culture which you are growing up in can cause your heritage to slip out of your hands without you even realizing it. This leads to a buildup of self-condemnation. It is that remorse which has to be confronted to be able to appreciate the beauty in both the cultures. Next, take down the invisible law telling you to choose only one culture. We second-generation immigrants can never be only one culture. We are a beautiful fusion of the cultures that make us who we are today. By allowing these cultures to blend, we become a unique tapestry of traditions, values, and experiences. We must break down that invisible wall separating these cultures and let them immerse into each other. Next, connect with all the cultures. This can be done in numerous ways. It can include cooking an ethnic meal, learning about the history of each culture, and learning or speaking in your mother tongue. You can even have your own ways of bonding with your heritage as well. Fourth, connect with those in the same situation as you. Experiencing cultural disconnection can make one feel really alone. But it would provide great comfort and motivation to know that you're not the only one experiencing this. You can take the steps of attending a culturally enhancing festival, take part of an event which would help you bond with your culture, or simply befriend someone who's experienced the same thing. Fifth, work towards overcoming the bicultural stress of leading a double life. Growing up with one cultural environment inside of the home and another cultural environment outside of the home can lead to a type of identity crisis. It can cause second-generation immigrants to feel like they're leading a double life with dual personalities, one for inside the house and one for outside. This leads to numerous psychological issues, including impulsivity, problems regulating emotions, and so much more. This has to be overcome. Even though each individual may have their own way of overcoming this, it can include finding a balance, staying connected to family, and if needed, seek support. Finally, understand all the cultures. Just because the value of one culture may clash with the value of another, it does not make one good and the other bad. These differences are not a sign of weakness, but a testament to the diverse backgrounds from which these cultures arise. These differences are completely okay. Just like we're allowed to have viewpoints which differ from one another, these cultures can have values which differ as well. That is because each culture is uniquely handcrafted from a diverse background, and we have to go about respecting that. To conclude, the journey of embracing dual cultures is about breaking down barriers and learning and understanding the differences which make each culture so eccentric. By doing so, not only do we find acceptance in ourselves, but learn to appreciate the richness in our diverse heritage. As we navigate through the crossroads of cultures, may we learn to see the beauty in it all. Thank you.